Welcome to the Generous Business Owner Podcast, where business owners gain inspiration and encouragement to live a legacy, not just leave one. And now your hosts, Jeff Thomas, Alan Barnhart, and Jeff Rutt.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's Generous Business Owner Podcast. My name is Jeff Thomas, and we've got Jeff Rutt with us today. Say hello to the people, Jeff.
Hello to the people.
And we do have a very special guest with us today. Carl Fochler is with us. He's the founder and managing partner of Queen City Land, which is a real estate company based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Carl, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me today.
All right, kick us off, Jeff.
Carl, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Take us back quickly to the early years. What was it like in the Fochler family growing up? Entrepreneur opportunities, spiritual formation, any other fun stories in the younger years?
Well, I got adopted. That was the earliest as it goes. I got adopted through Catholic Charities. So I was put in a great home. I hit the parent lottery back at 6 weeks old. I was born in Buffalo, so still a big Bills fan, but I was raised in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and we did 12 years of Catholic school. That's how I was brought up. Loving family, siblings. Like a lot of folks, my parents adopted my older brother and myself because they couldn't have kids, and then they had two of their own after me. So we had a great family, how that works out. And they were just loving parents, gave us every opportunity we wanted to do. Through high school, I DJ'd a little bit, and that was probably my first taste of like, hey, I want to do stuff for myself. I DJ'd my senior year in high school, DJ'd all 4 years at college at West Virginia University, did all the sororities, all the summer stuff. So I just got a taste of, hey, man, this working for yourself stuff's pretty neat. However, like most folks after school, I started my career in real estate, and that was with Ryan Homes. I worked with them for 7 years, learned a lot of stuff from them, got to the point where I think I thought I was smarter than I was probably. I thought I can do some of this on my own, make my own hours. The weekends when all your friends are out playing, in real estate, we're busy on the weekends. I was like, all right, enough's enough. I can do this on my own. And then that's when I really jumped out. And that would have been 1997 when I went out on my own, and I've worked for myself ever since.
But now you had a successful sales career, right, at Ryan. What did you take customers with you? Did you have to start from scratch? I mean, how scary was that transition?
It was scary, but they did teach you a lot of good things.
Yeah.
So I had 7 years there. I was their number one salesperson in the region in the Carolinas for 2 years, number two in the country, which was a pretty big deal back then. But I had a great relationship with all my folks. So unlike most people that just jump off into their own, I had 7 years of backlog. So very strategically, when I was getting ready to leave, I sent letters out to the hundreds and hundreds of people I sold Ryan Homes to, with a little letter thanking them for their belief in me, and moving forward, who better to list your house than the person who sold it to you? I know everything about them, blah, blah, blah. So when I left, I had a backlog of people that called me to list their house, and I could help them on the other end as well. So I definitely had a head start on someone that just gets their real estate license and tries to hit the bricks. I had that. And then I just parlayed that into and ended up with two different offices. I had like 75 agents at the height of my career. It was called, when I left Ryan Homes, I called it Panther Realty. A little background on that. When the Panthers came to town, the Carolina Panthers, they had to name the team thing, and it came down to the Carolina Panthers and the Carolina Copperheads. And this very night that they announced it, I went down the next morning and got Panther Realty, or it would have been the Copperhead Realty. So I just wanted to make sure I kind of piggyback whatever happened with that. And it went real well. I got a letter from the Panthers.
I bet.
Saying, you can't draw any conclusions from your company to ours. And they were 1 in 15. I'm like, believe me, I'm not trying to piggyback on your lack of success. So that was the last correspondence we had after that. So it worked out well. But that's kind of how I started that. So I left and jumped out into that, and I ran that for quite some time. And then I got into different things.
How many years did you run Panther? How many years did you have Panther?
I ran Panther for probably 6 or 7 years, probably
Yeah.
98 to 2004, 2005.
Okay. And I know you had, before we started recording, you said you had a 2008 story. Most of us who are in any kind of professional job had a job at
Oh,
all to have a
yeah. I
2008
mean,
story. You mind sharing that?
no, I don't mind. I'm not embarrassed by it because it makes you who you are. I was still young. I sold Panther Realty in 2004, 2005 range to ERA, franchise of ERA. Did very well. Took all that money, put it into land. I never saw a recession or land is always going up, right? So I was developing things myself. I had property, thousands of acres, probably over 1,000 acres in different subdivisions. Some I had just bought, some I had roads in, some I had utilities. So when the world stopped, as it did in 2008, um, I was brought up, you pay your bills. The only mistake I probably made in hindsight is everybody said, don't go into your 401k, don't do that, but I was brought up, you pay your bills. Plus, it's a lot like poker at that point. I'm all in, all my chips are in. I had a hard time struggling, like looking at a piece of land. I got $4 million in the ground to just walk away. So I robbed Peter to pay Paul until Peter was broke. And there really was nothing left at that point. But I don't want to get off on a tangent, but the reason I said that was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I hate that I took the whole country down with me, but I wasn't as good a person as I should have been then. I mean, I was brought up, like I mentioned, Catholic. My mom and if my mom and the Pope passed on the same day, it would be a race to heaven. I mean, she went to church every day. She had it raised us right. And I wasn't really doing the things I should have been doing, to be quite honest with you. I had success early in life, and I thought that made me better than what I probably was. It just found a lot of the traps that young people with money have, and that you probably should know better. Um, but why I said it was a blessing is I'd done my share of running through the women and things like that. And then the woman I'm married to now that I have 3 children with, we started dating right in 2007. So I was still pretty much on the top of the mountain. I could see the slope going down, but I was still at the top of the mountain. And she was living up in DC. She's an attorney. And she rode the whole way down with me. She circled the drain with me. I went through bankruptcy and all that type of thing. And she stayed with me. And that's when the light came on. I said, man, enough's enough. This is the one you need to be with. She stayed with you in the good and the bad. And that's why I said I hate that I had to go through that scenario because, like a lot of people, I'm looking all the time like, God, why has this happened to me? Why? And then, I had my first daughter, and I was like, now I know why. I had to go through that we learn in the valley, right? Not in the mountaintop. And I was in the valley for 4 years, like most of us. Anyone that was in real estate or that was in banking at that time, I mean, there was foreclosures everywhere. So and it came right off the high. I was on Nightline, with Kate Snow, and they did a whole big thing on Charlotte and Bank of America. And Hugh McCall was on me and Hugh McCall. I got like 8 minutes of time. He got like three. I thought I was it. It wasn't 6 months later when it all stopped. So, like I said, I don't look back on those days fondly, but I'm glad that it put me back on the track. I found my wife that kept me. She's very Christian. She kept me focused, and here we are now. We have 3 healthy young girls. So. Uh, as bad as 2008 was, it definitely was a blessing in disguise.
So, so it's cool that you were able to kind of solidify that relationship through that time and you guys went through that together. But what were
Correct.
some of the other lessons that still pay dividends today from
Uh,
that time?
I got a lot more business wise. I got a lot smarter. Real estate doesn't just always go up. There are ebbs and flows, which I didn't know back then. So now, uh, even with some of the stuff I've done with the national builders and Keystone and some of those other things, I'm not I'm not always going to put all the lots on the ground. Sometimes I'll entitle it and I'll get it to a certain point. Yeah, I'd make more money, sure, if I put the lots on the ground most times, but you take a little risk off the table. I mean, the only other godsend was when I went through that time and I lost my house, I lost everything. I had to stay with, excuse me, my best friend up in Mooresville was nice enough to house me for a while. I learned that taking a little bit off the table, and you never go broke taking a profit. That was my dad used to always say. So I would rather be. I went through that by myself. I would hate to think of having to go through that with a wife and 3 kids. That would have
Right.
been horrible. So that's kind of what I learned. I learned that there's more important things than making the most you can off of every deal. It's just not. It's just not worth it.
And
So
I would imagine with that business wisdom, I mean, the word that I keep thinking about is humility. Is that
Oh,
fair?
very fair, very, very fair. Because like I said, I wasn't the person I wanted. When I look back at the person I was then, I'm almost disgusted with myself. So I am happy that I went through that to point to where I'm at now. And if I can reach back, I was told Cole and those folks, we have a couple of, I'm big into little sayings and stuff, but we don't have the drawbridge mentality at Queen City Land. We want each other to do better. And just when you get yours, you don't pull up that drawbridge and don't help the next one. So we're always reaching back, helping people. Again, you'll hear probably a couple of my dad's favorite sayings as during this podcast, and one of them is, you always lend a hand. If you need to lend two, they probably don't want to get up. So we'll always reach back and try to help people. Not going to hoard our knowledge. I don't want Cole, who's younger, and these other guys, Cody, that I have working for me. I don't want those guys to go through what I went through. They're already way far beyond their years than I am. They're already in Bible studies and stuff like that. So they're grounded. They're good to go. But the market isn't always going to go up. It's not always going to be great. Bad things going to happen to good people. So we just want to make sure that they're on the right path going forward.
Okay, okay, hold on. Let me make sure I got that quote right. Do the
Okay.
lend a hand quote a little slower for us. Hang on. Make sure we get
My
that.
dad always said, excuse me, always lend a hand. If you have to lend two hands, they probably don't want to up. They don't want up. So
Okay.
what he was trying to tell me is
If they don't
help
grab
the
the
people.
first one, yeah.
Yeah, help the people that want help, but there's some people that will just take advantage. If you have to use two,
Right.
they're probably just taking care of you. My other favorite quote from him that I think is a good business decision, because people always second guess themselves. He always told me that the streets are filled with squirrels that couldn't make a decision. And that is true. This back and forth stuff doesn't work. Trust yourself, Carl. Make a decision. Just go with it. Don't guess. You get run over. So those are a couple of things that I just take with me. I pass on to the people below me. And we do pretty well with that.
That's a
We'll make
great.
jokes. In the office. Don't be a squirrel. If Cole asks me something, I'll say, "Don't be a squirrel, Cole. Trust yourself and go." So
That's
it's a little
that's a
inside
good.
joke. You'll know if I say that. What's going
I
on?
love that. That's a good visual that just seeing the squirrels run over in the street because they
Yeah.
decide which way to go. But going back to your lend a hand, Jeff Buffett has this saying, which I've used many times, in reference to your kids, give your kids a leg up, not two legs up on the couch.
Right. That's a great one. Yeah.
Similar to your saying.
Yeah, very, very similar.
So
Um,
Carl, so now we know that I think we're getting into one of the things that you like to do missionally here too, which sounds like lend a hand. So
yeah,
and obviously you got lent a hand as a innocent baby,
yeah,
got dealt a pretty good hand, sound like with the
yeah.
parents that you had and that sort of thing. And so I think that really fits. Have you ever kind of connected the dots on kind of the help you've gotten and the help you're trying to give?
Well, yes. I mean, I'm on the board of A Better World that's local here in Charlotte,
Yeah,
where we help the underserved kids. I mean, right here in the Charlotte area, where most of these kids are, they're all, I shouldn't say all, 95% of them are single parents,
yeah,
usually single mothers. Half of them are living in shelters or apartments, like one bedroom apartments with all the kids and stuff. So I got on the board of that about 8 years ago when Pastor Ken came to my church and told us about the project, what he was been doing for 20 years. So I got involved into that pretty heavily to get on the board, and I stay involved and donate a lot of time and money to that cause. Um, and while we're on that, I want to go back a second. In addition to Queen City Land, I do own another company with a partner called Sheets Laundry Club that we started here, and I won't get you bored with the details, but it's a laundry detergent sheet that's dehydrated, so there's no water, no big buckets. That we've done here. We got on Shark Tank after 10 months, got a deal in Shark Tank and went crazy with the sales. But we donate, even with that company, we donate millions of loads of laundry for free all around. Like, especially like when North Carolina got hit with the floods, we sent thousands and hundreds of thousands of laundry sheets up there. We go to the inner cities, we go anywhere there's a place, and we give sheets, laundry. I mean, when you're worried about what you're going to eat and this and everything, laundry is a luxury. So we get there, we have a big truck, we'll go around, has a bunch of washers and dryers in it, and try to help out what we can. So everything we touch, we try to give back, just because it's the right thing to do. And so whether it's that or whether it's Queen City Land, every little portion of everything we do, we give back. And it's fun to watch how many people want to get on board with you when you start doing and giving back. Last Christmas, my then 7-year-old was the first time she went down to the Christmas at a Better World, where we feed them, their families, give them Christmas gifts, do all that type of thing. And man, just to see the lights on her eyes, she came home in the car, no lie. I don't want Christmas this year, Daddy. I want you to buy them presents because they don't have anything. And so that speaks volumes to exactly she gets it at 7. She knows she's blessed. She comes home to a house full of toys, and she sees these kids. They don't even open their presents on the 18th of last year when they get them because that's all they're gonna have for Christmas. The parents take it home, and that's their Christmas. So she's getting to see it. And I have twins that are 5. They're probably a little young yet, but next year they'll be down there too, and then they're going to be hands on. Like we're doing Thanksgiving and Christmas. We do summer camps. She packs bags for the summer for these kids, that type of thing. So I guess my passion is kids more than anything. I don't know if that stems subconsciously from being adopted and I just got a break because God knows where I could have been. I mean, 1966 is a lot different, with abortion and everything that's so convenient now. Back then, it wasn't really that option. And both my parents were Catholics. That's how I got adopted and through Catholic charities. But to get the parents I got, I mean, that was just a godsend. And so here I am. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I fall down every day like all of us. But if I can give back, much is given, much is expected type deal, that gets me. And the one thing that keeps me up at night is this thing, it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than a camel through the eye of a needle. So I take that to heart. I'm like, maybe I don't want to be that person that did well down here and didn't do what I was called on to do. So I kind of think we all share that same philosophy.
Carl, could you share you mentioned Cole earlier, and you mentioned the Panthers. Could just take maybe a minute or two and just talk about generosity takes many forms. I feel like you've definitely been generous in other areas besides financially and mentoring some folks, including Cole.
Yeah, Cole played played for the San Diego Chargers football tight end, and then after he was done with the Chargers, he got a free agent contract with the Panthers. And then, long story short, through 7 degrees of separation, one of his parents' friends knew one of my friends, asked if I knew of any places he could stay or rent for the 3 months while he tried out for the Panthers that were fully furnished and that type of thing. And I asked him, I said, let me ask you this. Tell me something about him. Let me know what kind of kid this is. And they kind of told me and they filled me in. I knew they came from a good referral. But I tell this story a lot when I'm with Cole. The first thing I did back then, he's in his early 20s, just got out of TCU. I went to his Facebook. A lot of things can be told about people on their social media platforms. I know how I was at 22 and so forth. And the picture on his Facebook had him in the locker room after a bowl win. I think it was Stanford. And there was confetti coming down, and him and his teammates were all hanging around. And he put under there that when prayers go up, blessings come down. And I said, man, to be in that moment where you're on the top of the world and that's the quote you come up with, I said, you know what? Well, just let him stay with me. So the first time I ever met Cole, he literally walked in my house with his bags for 3 months. We put him up in the room. I had a refrigerator stocked with him. He ate like a horse. We took care of all that for him. And we just became friends. He went to church with me every week and my family. He took a shine to my then 3-year-old daughter. They're still kind of buddies. And so Cole, and unfortunately he didn't make it for the Panthers. But again, that's another one of those lessons. Like he could have got a free agent contract anywhere. It happened to be the Panthers. He ended up happening through 7 people meet me. It's why I love the movie A Wonderful Life, since we're here near Christmas. I mean, one decision makes so many other decisions. So he came here. He loved it here. He loved my family. He loved the weather. There's so many things to love about Charlotte, especially when you're coming from nowhere, Texas. I kid him. But he went back and got in commercial real estate for 1.5 years to learn the hard way in Texas. And then I get a call out of the blue one day. So before he left, I told him, my door's open. I'd love to mentor you. You're a good person, blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, I said, come on. So he and his then fiance flew out here and decided to make it a home. And I hired him and I've mentored him. And he was a quick study and he's doing wonderful things for himself. So, and now his wife is pregnant. It's common knowledge now, so I can tell exactly everything. So it's just another family starting here in Charlotte, and they're definitely on the right path.
How does Cole and how many employees do you have now?
just Cole and Cody King are the only two I have
Yeah.
that are under my Queen City land. Of course, I got a lot of subcontractors and stuff like
Right, right,
that
right.
that are actually my umbrella. I just keep those two.
How do those guys feel about, how do you talk about internally, how you use the business missionally? You talked about some things you're doing, but are those guys included? How do you talk about that inside the company?
Yeah, it's important, and we talk about it all the time. We pray every day together. Um, Cole's a reading buddy at a Better World, which is wonderful. That's what they need.
Mm.
The folks at home that aren't real familiar with the importance of education and reading for these underserved kids, that's the number one thing. So he goes down there, and these kids, man, they have nothing, but they look up to Cole. He played professional football. That's a big deal
Right.
to a lot of these kids. So he already is a foot in, and the fact that he's taking his time to read with them, it's so important. Our pastor down there, he pounds the same. I mean, from the time you're born to like third grade, you're learning to read. After that, you spend the rest of your life reading to learn. And if you can't read Charlotte Webb, the book Charlotte Webb by third grade, the chance that you graduate in high school is like less than 10, 15%. Don't quote me on the exact, but it's like unheard of. Like, you're just not going to make it if you can't read by third grade on a third grade level, because you have to read to learn going forward. So we lose so many kids, and to give up on a kid when they're 8 years old in third grade, I mean, that's just unacceptable, at least on my watch. We just got to pound the reading, and we Better World does a good job with the iReady, giving them chances of stuff they can't do. We send them on the kids that really try. We send them on a trip every year. I mean, you'd be surprised how many kids are in late grade school and have never left the county, let alone the state. So when we send them to Disney, they've never stayed in a hotel. They never had a swimming pool in a hotel or a restaurant. I mean, it just, their eyes go up, and it gives them hope, right? And when you're struggling to eat and struggling for where you're going to sleep, hope's not really something you spend a lot of time on. You're worried about today. So we give them the hope. Say, look, man, you stay the course. You've got people, you got pro football players here. You got people that care about you. Just stay the course, and you got to break this. You got to break the chain, right? And so we focus on breaking the chain. You can be the first in your family to do this, 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 and this. And a lot of them take it up. And we have Pastor K. He deserves all the credit. He brings some of his people back from the 20 years ago that are state troopers now, or in politics, and are doctors, and they'll come back and they'll speak at our fundraising events and stuff. So those kids sat in the exact same seat with a single mom, no money, sleeping in their car, and here I am, a doctor. So it can happen. So again, a lot of things go back to the whole kid thing, and Cody and Cole both buy into that whole thing. So that's our main focus.
All right. Now you got to tell us this sheets and laundry story. You kind of just threw Shark Tank out there like it was going bowling on Saturday night. So okay, you got to unpack that story.
Well, I didn't even know much about it. My buddy, my partner Chris Badou, he and I are running the company now. He was a Black Hawk pilot for like 20 years in the military, and when he got out, his final physical coming out, he won't mind me telling this, that the doctor said his lungs looked like a 70 or 80-year-old man when he was like 40, he was mid-40s, because he was in Afghanistan and lived 2 or 3 years by those burn pits. He flew through those burn pits, and if you don't know burn pits, that's where they just burn everything, plastic, feces, everything is just there. It's terrible for your lungs. So when he became a civilian, he's like, what am I going to do to change the world? And getting rid of plastic was his calling. So he and I joined forces for eliminating plastic. And again, God had his hand on that, I didn't even know they did this, but we were in the business 10 or 11 months, and Shark Tank called us, which I didn't know, but they have like 4 producers that look for companies that they want to get behind. So they called us, and sure, the next thing you know, we're on Shark Tank, and we on TV, we got a deal with Daniel Lebetsky, the owner of Kind Bars. We didn't know, after the show, we decided it probably wasn't the best fit for us. Some things changed, but by that point, it served us, because we got on TV, we had the deal, and then the thing skyrocketed. But let me just divert 1 second there. You can cut that part. Is my partner Chris Badou on that? He gets it too. So we were back to the beginning. I was born in Buffalo, so all ties together. So I'm a diehard Bills fan. If you remember a few years back, Damar Hamlin, who was a Buffalo Bills player, got hurt. The whole world knew about it, and he basically died on the field, and they brought him back and all that type of thing. And as a Bills fan, they really had my attention. Well, he runs a practice up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where he's from, called Chasing Millions. It's almost the same as A Better World. They give toys to the kids at Christmas, the underserved, all that type of thing. So of course now I'm like, okay, he's a Bill. He does this. He's chasing the millions for these kids and that type of thing. So I had an automatic connection, and not to sound arrogant or anything, but it was funny that I talked to my buddy Chris, and he said, "Well, let's just get." They had a big fundraiser raising money after the DeMar Hamlin thing, and we gave $25,003 because his number's three. And we were the biggest donator. We gave more to that charity than anybody in the country until like a month later, the late Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, matched us at $25,003. I'm like, why do you have to throw the three in there? but it was nice because what happened was we did something out of the kindness of our heart. Sure, it's a Buffalo thing, but it helps these kids back in Pittsburgh because we're the biggest donation. Give the biggest donation. I get interviews with USA Today, Time all these different magazines and national outlets, who's Sheets and why are you doing that? And so I got to tell my story again. Hey, look, he stands for the same things we stand for. We want to help kids, underserved kids, and that type of thing. So it probably gave our company a little bit of a boost as a just a residual because we're out there doing what was right, and we got more public. I couldn't pay for that kind of advertising, but it got the word out that these people care and they're giving back to the kids. And I think they raised like $8 million or something for that. So that's my whole thing with Sheep. But even there, I don't partner with people that don't share the same vision. It doesn't really work out too well that way. So both my companies that I'm in, we focus on giving back.
So what is the business? I know you do laundry, but tell us more about that business.
I wish I had one with me. It's laundry sheets. They look like a postcard, basically, real thin, like a postcard. So you can get 100 loads of laundry in a little tiny box. There's no water. It's dehydrated. You take that all out. So all you do is take this sheet, you put your clothes in the laundry in the wash machine. You just throw this on top. And as soon as the water hits it, it dissolves.
It expands. It dissolves.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have no big jugs. So we've eliminated all the single-use plastic. That was our big goal. No more plastic bottles because those things get used one time in their use. So that's the magic is you can use.
Sounds like they look like a dryer sheet.
It looks exactly like a dryer sheet.
That's what I was when I was picturing. I was picturing that, but it's in lieu of the liquid.
Correct.
Detergent
replaces the washing. Yeah.
And we get phone calls that they put it in the dryer by mistake from time to time because it does kind of look like that. So we're pretty big on the box. This is a washer sheet. This is your
right.
Stick it on top of your clothes. It'll dissolve when the water hits it. So we try to educate them as we go. But we made a big difference with that too because the plastic we've eliminated is huge. Because you've all had them. We've all had those big jugs. You toss them as soon as you get done. You may put them in the recycling, but very few of those recycling really get recycled. So he's doing something that was meant to him. The plastics in his lungs pushed him towards something that he would never have done. And when my wife and I talked about it, and we could talk, and we had trouble getting on the computer today, and I told her I was going to invest and we're going to do this laundry sheet thing. She's like, what could go wrong? You know nothing about laundry or computers. So it's an internet-based problem. So she gave me the old go college try. So, but here we are, and it worked out. So I stay in my lane the best I can.
Well, Carl, one thing that we always try to wrap up with is just, for somebody behind you on the journey, I mean, you've had kind of a hot start, a big setback. I mean, you shared about the bankruptcy story. That's no small setback, and really, not putting the drawbridge up, but kind of maybe putting the ladder down. Or I'm sure your dad had a good analogy for that. But
yeah, he had them all, man.
What'd you say?
Yeah, my dad had him saying for just about anything.
For anything,
yeah. He stick with me, and I love him. So I love it. It's all good.
But anyway, so what's just a practical tip for somebody running a company? Maybe they're in the pit a little bit, or maybe things are going great. But what's just some practical tip where you would encourage a business owner who might be listening to this, on the treadmill or something that's trying to take one step in the right direction?
Oh man, there's so many things. Probably just to not give up because a lot of times
Mm.
you do. A lot of people quit right before you don't know. The next day might have been the day that was the day. Again, a bunch of things that we do at Queen City Land. We all have T-shirts that say 41 on them because there's so many references in the Bible about 40 days. Like Noah, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. The day 41 came.
Mm.
Goliath, he taunted David and all the for 40 days, but 41st day he got slain. And it goes on and on and on and on. How so many things. They circled the desert for 40 years. Before day 41, they took it over. There's probably 20 of those. And we'll go over those all the time. So just like we say squirrel, we'll say 41. I'd say probably don't give up because I was in that pit, man. I was on the top of the world. I was as low as low. And I felt like, well, what am I going to do? I'm not going to do this real estate ever again. This is horrible. What am I going to do? But you just stay true to what you know. And day 41 came, and then 42 came, and 43 came. So now, we kind of got back on top, and we're not going to make the same mistakes we did before. But I would just believe in yourself. Like I said, just like you said,
I love that. I really like that 41. I've never heard about that, but it's very true. I'm 40 years in the desert, 40 days of
40 days,
whatever.
40 years. It goes on and on, like Jonah and the whale.
Yeah.
He went to Nineveh. He had to preach for 40 days, and then 41st day, God decided to save the people he was preaching to. There's probably 15 or 20 of those that you didn't really realize. So we got T-shirts made that say 40. It says 41. Doesn't say. We don't put it in your face. We don't trade on religion. If anyone tells me, "Hi, I'm whoever," I go to church. I hold my wallet with both hands. Because I'll figure it out soon enough if you're a good person or not. So just a simple 41. We know. Just don't give up.
Well, after this podcast gets released, there's going to be a shortage of 41 jerseys all over the nation. Every kid's going to want a 41 jersey.
I hope that's right, and I hope they tell us why.
I love it. Well, listen, thanks so much for sharing your story with us. I know it'll be an inspiration to many.
Well, I appreciate the time and the platform, and I think, I tip my hat to you guys. You guys are doing wonderful things for a lot of people in your charity and that type of thing, and I wish you the best success on that. And hopefully some people listen to this and they'll get them motivated to get out there. And I'll leave you with one last thing that we like to say. We do our fundraisers, because I have a saying for everything. I'll have a fundraiser and I'll have a bunch of, I'll talk to the people there and I'll say, I have good news and bad news. I say, whatever our goal is, we want to raise $100,000 and we have all the money we need. So give yourself a hand. They all clap. And I said, but the bad news is it's still in your pocket.
Yeah.
So then they're like, oh, so we got them. So we try to get them involved, and then that's kind of how we milk them out there. Just try to get people to do the right thing. Give a little more than you, so it hurts a little bit, and it'll come back 1,000 times over. So.
Well, to play off that, I'll say, thank you, Jeff Rutt, also for being here today, and we'll thank all the listeners. We've had I think there's going to be 1 million downloads of this, but you have to click play before we get the 1 million. So it's the same idea.
That's exactly. We hit our goal.
We got 1 million downloads. It's just going to take you to hit play and send it to 10 people.
And tell a friend, a friend or two.
Exactly. So thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks again, Carl. Thanks again, Jeff. And thanks everybody for listening. Share it with a friend. Subscribe on YouTube, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Generous Business Owner Podcast with Jeff Thomas, Alan Barnhart, and Jeff Rutt. Make sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. You can find the guest contact information in the show notes. Stay tuned for the next episode.